So today's muscles of interest are the hamstrings. Now the hamstrings are located at the back of our thighs, and the hamstrings are made up of three different muscles: the semitendinosus, the semimembranosus, and the biceps femoris. These muscles work together to extend the hip, for example during the deadlift, and also to flex the knee, for example during any leg curl exercise. It's important that we do both variations to optimize hamstring development. With that being said, the first exercise we're going to look at today is the Romanian deadlift. When it comes to training the hamstrings, I believe we should have a mix of heavy and light hip extension and knee flexion exercises. The Romanian deadlift is a great hip extension exercise to go heavy with because it's easy to progressively overload, and I believe there's a slightly lower injury risk when compared to the conventional deadlift. The Romanian deadlift has similarities to the conventional deadlift. However, there is a smaller degree of knee extension, which puts greater emphasis on the hamstrings. Romanian deadlifts can also be used as a lighter, high rep hip extension exercise, which I prefer to do using dumbbells. To increase the stretch on the hamstrings, we can elevate our toes using the plate. You may feel greater emphasis on the hamstrings using this method. You only need to bring the weight just below your knees to your shins, which prevents the lower back from dominating this movement. I like to use straps to prevent grip strength from limiting the amount of weight and tension that can be applied to the hamstrings during this exercise. Here we have another variation of the Romanian deadlift that you can add to your workout. Unilateral movements have a number of benefits. For example, helping to prevent muscle imbalances and reducing the risk of injury. Also, if you play sports or you just want to improve your balance, then it's vital that you include unilateral exercises in your workout program. Because it is more difficult to progressively overload with these exercises, I recommend sticking to a higher rep range with a relatively low weight. So the good morning is another hip extension exercise that I recommend. However, if you're new to this movement, then I recommend starting with a lighter weight and going for more high reps. As you become more advanced and master the technique, you can consider going with a heavier weight with more mechanical tension in the 5 to 8 rep range. We start the good morning in a similar setup to the back squat. However, once we descend, we keep our legs stiff to remove any involvement from the quadriceps. To get the best hamstring development out of this movement and to reduce the risk of injury, control the descending phase with a slower pace. This will eccentrically contract the hamstrings and prevent our lower back from jerking on the way back up. Eccentric contraction is the motion of lengthening our muscles while under a load. Once you master the good morning, it is a viable option as a heavy hip extension movement. However, if you prefer, it can be easily used as a high rep, lower weight exercise. So now I'm going to move on to the knee flexion exercises. It's important that we include knee flexion because of the short head of the biceps femoris. The short head does not cross the hip joint, so it's not involved in hip extension. Therefore, if we do not want to neglect this muscle, we must do some knee flexion movements. The Nordic ham curl is a great bodyweight exercise that focuses on the eccentric phase of knee flexion. Research shows that Nordic ham curls are great for developing hamstring strength and size, despite being only a bodyweight exercise. This exercise is great for anyone involved in sports because it has been shown to reduce the risk of hamstring injury and may improve sprinting speed. If you do not have a partner to hold down your ankles, then you can use the lat pull down machine as I am demonstrating. So Nordic ham curls are one of my favorite exercises. However, they can be extremely challenging, making it difficult to get an adequate amount of reps for the right amount of volume. Therefore, I recommend using a resistance band to provide some assistance.
As you'll see, I'm able to do more reps while using the resistance band. If you instantly fold during the Nordic ham curl due to weak hamstrings, or you want to make this a higher rep exercise, then I recommend using the resistance band. Now we move on to the machine leg curl. This is a simple knee flexion exercise which effectively isolates the hamstrings. Some research shows that knee flexion exercises are more effective at targeting the lower section of our hamstrings when compared to hip extension exercises. I have no particular preference between the lying and seated machine leg curl. At my gym, they only have the one option, so use whichever is available to you. If you have the option of using both, then go with the one you personally prefer or alternate between the two. You can see in this part of the video, I am pointing my feet slightly outwards. This emphasizes the outer region of the hamstrings. We can also target the inner and medial regions by pointing our feet inwards. Now the final exercise, Physio ball leg curl, is quite unique because it combines hip extension with knee flexion. The hamstrings have to work to keep the hip extended while also flexing the knee to bring the ball backwards. I was shown this exercise by a physio when I was having issues with my knee due to being quad dominant. I like to do this exercise at the end of a workout as a finisher. So just to summarize, I recommend doing 4 to 6 of these exercises spread over 2 sessions, combining both hip extension and knee flexion exercises. Each session should involve one heavy movement and 1 or 2 lighter, higher rep movements. Thank you for tuning into my video. If you found it useful, then please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe.